Hello again, fellow YouTube investors. It's the Dividend Bloodhound here again with another investing video. And again, today we're going to be focusing on my buy-to-let portfolio. Now, today I'm just going to be talking about property number one, which I've owned since I was 23, so I've owned it now for 6 years. And I'm going to talk, it took quite a little introduction to the property. As you can see, its value isn't that big. And that's because when I started doing this, my salary wasn't that big either, so I didn't have much of a choice in terms of how much I could borrow for a mortgage. You guys might be different, and I'm sure there's people out there that are perhaps from the South East or London going, that's impossible, you can't buy anything near me. I appreciate that, and you either have to look elsewhere or elsewhere or in cheaper areas. Unfortunately, that's just the nature of the beast. Unless you have got the money to splash out and the salary to go for that, and if you have, then absolutely fair enough, go ahead and do that. So I started off with this property here, valued at £60,000. I actually got it a little bit cheaper than what it was on the market for. It was a bit tired, but it didn't need a great deal of work doing to it to bring it up to the standard. So yeah, I bought it for £60,000 back in 2014, 2015. No, 2014, sorry. 2013, 2014 time. But I kept it as a residential. I bought it on a residential mortgage because I actually planned to live there myself for a while. And then about a year or so later, I actually decided I wasn't spending enough time there, so I ultimately moved out, refurbed it, and started letting it out to tenants, obviously. So yeah, we have an initial purchase price of £60,000 there, and the rent I receive each month is £550 per calendar month, which gives me a gross yield of 11%, which, as you would see if you watch Homes Under the Hammer or anything like that, that is quite a good return on my money. And that percentage there is worked out by, I've just noticed a little mistake on my board here, so that would be 60,000. So we've got my annual income in rent there, which is £6,600, and then you divide that by the actual value that you paid for the property, which is £60,000, which then gives me that. Now, it's important to remember that the £550 per calendar month, from that I have to deduct my agency fees, and I have to take away my tax contributions for that. Now, tax changes are something that I'll have to talk about in another video because it's quite complicated. Basically, landlords are worse off now. A lot of people are saying buy-to-let is dead. I don't believe that is so. It's just more difficult, I would say, and you've got to be even more careful with buying your property and deciding if it's actually worth it and if it's actually going to make you any money. Now, yeah, so the purchase price there was £60,000. When I had it, so I did have a remortgage against it to buy my second place, or help me buy my second place. So I took some money out of it. I took £13,000 out of it to help me buy my other place, which is a 2-bedroom place. This one's only a 1-bedroom flat. I bought a 2-bedroom flat with the new one. But I'll go into that on another video and another day. But what's important is the initial purchase price was £60,000, but when I decorated it and added some value to it, it actually got marketed by the new mortgage company, or valued, should I say, at £75,000. And now my actual mortgage against the property at the moment, even with having taken all that money out, that £13,000 has already gone and is now invested in another property. I still have only a £49,000 mortgage against it, which leaves me with equity of £26,000. Now, quickly tracking, which is obviously quite a healthy figure. Now, quickly tracking back to my rental agreement, what actually hits my bank account each month is more like £475. So that's after the agents have taken their fee. Then I have to keep some of that allotted to one side to pay for the tax. Now, my mortgage payment each month is is £340. So I haven't actually got that on here, so I'll quickly put that there. £340, and my mortgage, my rental income is £475 after that fee. So as you can see, there is a pretty good gap there between the mortgage payment and the rental income. Quick maths, about £130. Now again, I will lose a chunk of that because I've got to pay the tax man for the pleasure of owning a property. Unfortunately, it counts as an income, so that's that. And my current tax rate on that will be 20%. So I will lose. I will definitely lose some. Well, not lose, but pay the tax man that money there. You got to be careful when you go into buy to let that you don't end up in the higher tax or the super tax bracket. If you earn over £50,000 a year, that payment will go up. For instead of being 20%, you'll be charged 40%. That's only on once you get over £50,000 a year. Now that's quite lucky. You're quite a high earner if you do get to that, but it will be something that I might have to consider in the future. But you only get charged at 40% on anything over £50,000, so you've got to have all that £50,000 and your tax-free allowance of 11,500 or so first before you can be touched with the harder tax. So that would mean that you're on a pretty decent income if you are taking that tax. Now for the future, I plan on, obviously there's that equity there, I plan on keeping it there. I could swap my mortgage, so instead of it being £340 a month and capital repayment, so therefore making that mortgage smaller and smaller each month, obviously you guys obviously know how a mortgage works, I could swap that into an interest only. Now the interest only side of things would mean that my mortgage payment would only be £110 instead, because that's the interest that I'm paying. So that would mean that my cash flow there would go up massively and that money would stay in my bank account. And the reason I don't do that at the moment is because I'm happy to just let it pay down the mortgage and boost that equity, so I can call on that equity again in another day when I want to buy another property or buy a property with a partner or whatever it is. It's safely banked away there, and I wouldn't say that it's absolutely bulletproof, because no investment is always bulletproof. It can be ruled completely bulletproof, but it's safe money and it's appreciating because the value of this property will only go up over time. So yeah, that rounds off pretty much me talking about my property 1 today. I will do property 2 in a future video, and I hope to be able to eventually bring you potentially property 3, or just moving on to getting a property with a partner, or whichever way I'd like to do that. But I'll be calling on money in this to do that. I'll be calling on money in this property, my second property, to pull together a deposit without absolutely smashing my savings accounts, because it's already in there, or my investments accounts. I can just call on that and do the remortgage to do that. I hope you guys understand, and I've spoken in terms that you can actually get to grips with and would actually like to do yourself. If you like what you see, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I am looking at growing my channel. I often or nearly will always return subscriptions to my channel if that's what you're into as well. If you're trying to grow your channel, let's help each other out. We are the small YouTube community. And that's it really. All that remains for me to say is best wishes and all the best. And this is the Dividend Bloodhound sign off, and we'll see you another day. Bye bye.